Before wool becomes clothing, it does not go straight from a sheep to a sweater. First, it has to survive a huge industrial journey. It gets shorn, sorted, tested, washed, dried, beaten, carded, combed, spun, woven or knitted, finished, and finally sewn into something people can wear. What starts as a rough, greasy fleece can end up as a soft jumper, a winter coat, or even a smooth suit fabric. And that transformation happens at a scale of millions of pounds of wool moving through the global supply chain. Wool is one of humanity's oldest clothing fibers. Britannica notes that prehistoric people first wore sheepskins and later learned to make yarn and fabric from the fleece itself. Over time, sheep were selectively bred so the soft insulating fleece became more useful for textiles. Today, wool is still a global fiber, and the International Wool Textile Organization says that as of 2021 around 1.2 billion sheep produced roughly 1,945 million kilograms of raw wool, with wool making up about 0.9% of the world fiber market. The important thing to understand is that wool clothing is not made in one single magical factory room. In reality, it is usually a chain of specialized steps that starts on farms, moves through warehouses and testing labs, then continues into mills where the fiber is cleaned, aligned, spun, turned into fabric, and finally made into garments. Step 1. Shearing the fleece. Everything starts with the sheep. Wool is mainly obtained by shearing fleece from living animals. Once the fleece comes off, it still looks nothing like clothing. It is dense, uneven, and full of natural grease and outdoor contamination. That raw material is often called greasy wool, and it contains lanolin along with dirt, dust, sand, sweat salts, and other unwanted material. This is also the point where quality begins to matter. Not every part of a fleece is equal. Some fibers are finer, some are coarser, and some sections carry more contamination than others. That is why classing is such a big deal. AWEX describes wool classing as the critical first step in the wool supply chain, where wool is sorted, graded, and prepared into uniform lines so buyers and processors get a more consistent product. In simple terms, this is where the industry tries to turn a natural, messy material into something predictable enough for mass production. Step 2. Baling, testing, and sale. After classing, the wool is packed into bales and moved into storage and sale systems. IWTO explains that once the bales reach a warehouse, wool from a single property is grouped into sale lots of similar types. Core samples are then taken and tested for fiber diameter, vegetable matter, staple strength, length, and color. A pre-sale certificate is issued and stays with the lot through processing. Most of the world's wool is sold by auction, and these auctions generally take place every week. This step is easy to miss, but it is one of the reasons wool can be mass-produced at all. Clothing factories do not want random fiber. They want wool that has already been measured and described. The fiber diameter affects softness. The length affects how the fiber can be spun. The amount of vegetable matter affects how much cleaning is needed. So before the first big mill machine even starts, wool has already gone through a quality filter. Step 3. Scouring, the giant industrial wash. Now the really visual factory process begins. According to Woolmark, scouring is the first mechanical process wool goes through. Raw greasy wool typically contains about 35 to 40% contaminants by fleece weight, so it has to be cleaned before it can be processed properly. Woolmark says the wool is fed continuously through a series of wash bowls, typically 6 to 8, where warm water, detergent, and sometimes alkali remove grease and other soluble compounds. Then fresh water bowls rinse the fiber, and dryers remove the moisture. This is one of the biggest, wow, moments in the whole journey. What came off the sheep as dirty fleece starts to become an industrial fiber. Lanolin, dust, sand, sweat salts, and loose debris are stripped away. After drying, machines also beat the wool to remove particles that the wash could not fully get rid of. So when people imagine wool factories, one of the first true mass production lines is really a giant cleaning system. Step 4. Carbonizing for stubborn plant matter. Sometimes washing is not enough. If the wool contains too much vegetable matter like seeds, burrs, or grass, it may go through carbonizing. IWTO explains that some lots receive an extra treatment with diluted sulfuric acid and very high heat, which makes the vegetable matter dry and brittle so rollers can crush it away. Woolmark describes carbonizing as especially important in the woolen root when plant matter remains after scouring. That sounds intense, but it shows how difficult raw fiber preparation really is. A sheep has no reason to grow a factory-ready fleece. The textile industry has to take a natural coating from an animal and push it step by step into a uniform industrial input. Carbonizing is one of those hidden steps that viewers rarely think about when they pull on a wool sweater. Step 5. Carding and combing, turning loose wool into organized fiber. Once the wool is clean, it still is not ready to become yarn. The fibers are tangled. They need to be opened, separated, blended, and aligned. That is the job of carding. IWTO says carding removes tangles by passing the clean wool over sets of short wire teeth to open, straighten, and separate the fibers into a uniform mass. Woolmark adds that carding prepares the wool for spinning and that different carding setups are used depending on whether the fiber is entering the woolen or worsted root. This is where wool begins to split into two main industrial paths. Woolmark and IWTO explain that wool can be processed through either the woolen or the worsted system depending on fiber length and fineness. Worsted processing uses longer fibers to make very fine, smooth, lightweight fabrics. Woolen processing usually uses shorter fibers and produces thicker, bulkier yarns used in heavier garments like sweaters and outerwear. In simple terms, one route pushes towards smoother and cleaner looking fabric, while the other keeps more loft and bulk. If the wool is going through the worsted route, it also goes through top making. Woolmark says this stage includes carding, gilling, and combing, with the goal of making fibers parallel, removing short fibers and residual contaminants, and creating a sliver with uniform weight. IWTO says the combing stage removes short fibers called noils and lines up the rest into what becomes wool top. That clean, parallel ribbon is ideal for smoother yarns. Step 6. Spinning. When fiber becomes yarn, now the material finally starts to look like something familiar. Spinning takes the prepared wool and twists it into yarn. Woolmark notes that after spinning, yarn is wound onto packages. Faults like thick and thin places can be detected and removed, and many yarns then go through twisting to combine singles into stronger 2-ply yarns before being prepared for knitting or weaving. This stage matters because yarn quality changes everything downstream. Bad yarn creates weak fabric, uneven knitting, and visible defects in the finished garment. Good yarn is even, strong, and predictable. So by this point, the wool has gone from a biological material on a sheep, to a washed and organized fiber, to an engineered textile input. That is a big part of what modern mass production really means. Step 7. Weaving or knitting. Once yarn is made, factories choose how to turn it into fabric. One path is weaving. Woolmark explains that weaving forms fabric on a loom by interlacing warp yarns, which run lengthwise, with a weft yarn that crosses them. The main loom actions are shedding, picking, and beating up. In other words, the machine opens a path, inserts yarn across it, and then packs that yarn into the fabric. The other path is knitting. Woolmark says woolen spun knitting yarns are commonly used to produce sweaters on fully fashioned or flatbed knitting machines. Fully fashioned machines can knit shaped panels for the back, front, and sleeves, which are then linked together. That is one reason some wool garments feel more directly engineered from yarn, while woven garments often start as rolls of fabric that will later be cut and sewn. This is also where the woolen versus worsted difference becomes obvious to viewers. IWTO says worsted fabrics are used for smooth, lightweight products such as suits, trousers, skirts, and lightweight knitwear. Woolen spun fabrics are thicker and bulkier and are used more for outerwear, sweaters, scarves, and socks. So when you see a sleek wool suit and a chunky wool sweater, you are often seeing two different industrial routes, not just two different designs. Step 8. Making up the garment. After fabric or knitted panels are ready, factories move to making up. Woolmark describes making up as the process by which individual garment components are assembled and sewn together. This is the sewing room stage where collars, sleeves, side seams, waistbands, and other pieces finally become a wearable product. This step sounds simple compared with the chemistry and machinery earlier on, but it is where clothing either feels premium or cheap. Alignment, seam quality, shape control, and careful handling matter a lot with wool because it behaves differently from many synthetic fabrics. A garment can be technically made from excellent wool and still feel disappointing if the making up stage is careless. Step 9. Finishing. The final transformation. Finishing is the last big transformation before sale. Woolmark says finishing is essential for appearance, shape, dimensional stability, removal of oils and lubricants, and improving the hand feel of the final product. For worsted fabrics, finishing often includes wet cleaning to remove processing additives and dry finishing to flatten the surface and remove protruding fibers. For woolen products, finishing may also include controlled washing and milling to consolidate the fabric and create that fuller, hairier surface many warm wool garments have. This is the stage that turns technically complete into store-ready. It is why finished wool can feel soft instead of greasy, smooth instead of rough, stable instead of misshapen, and polished instead of unfinished. When viewers think a garment just came off the machine looking perfect, finishing is the step they are forgetting. Why wool still matters today even after thousands of years, wool has not disappeared. It still matters because it can be pushed into very different products. IWTO notes that wool goes beyond fashion and can also be used in carpets, bedding, upholstery, insulation, and protective garments, while fine merino wool is especially important in luxury fashion and performance apparel. That versatility helps explain why the industry still invests in testing, process control, and highly specialized mills. And that is really the big takeaway. Wool clothing is not made by one simple machine. It is made by a system. Farms produce fleece. Classers and labs sort and measure it. Mills wash it, clean it, align it, spin it, and turn it into fabric. Garment factories assemble it. Finishers refine it. So the next time you touch a wool coat or sweater, you are not just touching animal fiber. You are touching one of the oldest textile materials on Earth after it has passed through a very modern production chain. What looks like a simple fleece on a sheep's back is actually the starting point for a huge manufacturing story. From dirty raw wool to measured fiber, from carding and combing to spinning, weaving, knitting, sewing, and finishing, every stage is there to turn something natural and inconsistent into something soft, wearable, and reliable. That is how sheep wool becomes clothing inside mass production lines. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Then tap the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you never miss any of our future videos.